I'd like to welcome you and explain a little bit of how we make some of the coffee here. So this is me, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. This is our Gene Cafe coffee roaster that we ordered from Berman Coffee Traders, and we'll be roasting our probably about sixth or seventh roast of coffee. In this, you can see the control buttons. The right control is the blue button, and it's the on off and the timer. And the left button is the red, which is the heat, and it'll adjust the amount of heat that you have in the cycle. It'll also, if you want to turn on the cycle, you can push it to turn on the cycle, and then push it again if you want to interrupt the cycle. In this roast, we're starting off with 3.1 ounces of coffee. I weigh the coffee, but you can also do it by volume. The roaster actually has a measure that'll measure about 3 ounces of coffee. Here you can see that we're roasting at 455 degrees. We're roasting for about 14 minutes. This is after about 12 minutes or so, just right before the cooling cycle starts. Now we're in the cooling cycle, and it'll cool for about 6 minutes until it reaches 140 degrees. To further cool this, I put it in a metal pan, and the metal pan's fairly cool. Then I go ahead and put it on the scales. Here we can see that what was 3.1 grams of coffee is now about 2.7. One thing I do is I do log all the coffee. I have a binder with all the data that we've got. One thing I'll do is I'll put the date that it's roasted, the date that it's ground, the type of coffee and its source, the amount, and then the temperatures and times that we roast. And then I'll do a little self-assessment about what kind of coffee we have, whether it's good, it ends up being real bitter or not so bitter and such. So try to assess what we've got. After it's cooled, I'll store it for a little while in just mason jars with the napkin over the top or so to allow to degas. I don't try to drink it too early. First batch that I made, I drank right after I roasted it, and it came out pretty bitter and not very good. So a couple of days later, and it's really good coffee. Here's one of our darker roasts before we've ground it, and I think this is a Panama variety. Once we've finished with the roasting part, then I'll grind it, and oftentimes I'll grind about 6 to 8 ounces or so at a time. And I like this grinder. It's a Hamilton Beach. It's not really expensive or whatever, but it can adjust the grind from coarse to fine to medium, and you can do 14 ounces at a time. And right now I've got it on coarse to medium, and for a French press, I did a medium to fine variety the other day, and it was really good for more of an espresso type of grind. This is the end product, and now I'm ready to enjoy a cup of coffee from the other day. And in case you wonder where the name Big Dog Coffee came from, this is Big Dog, and he's a golden retriever, and we call him Big because we do have a little dog too, so big and little. This is Big Dog Coffee.